are on the record in person today with one of my favorite people, Rev Al Sharpton. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the news, but I really want to dig more deeper into this man, this activist, and where he is right now as we inch closer and closer to the midterms. Rev, thank you for letting me come see you in person.
I'm glad to be here in person with you. Always
right?
good to see you.
It's always good to be above ground. I'm telling you,
right,
these days,
right.
especially everything that's going on in our news. I want to ask you first off the bat, midterms are just weeks away. Like, we can smell them.
Right.
People are gearing up. Some polls are saying that people feel like we're inching towards a civil war. Others say that they don't think that this midterm is going to turn out right, and so they're ready to take up arms. What are you feeling as we get closer and closer?
I'm seeing the real atmosphere being poisoned by threats of violence and threats of, no matter what the outcome is, if it's not pleasing to some, they're going to say it's not a legitimate election, it's a stolen election. And I've never seen this, but you can't discount it when you see what happened January 6th. So we're in a real dangerous situation. Are we going to see state capitals stormed? And I think that the national government has to be prepared to put things in place before the elections, because it's very dangerous.
As we talk about what's happening with the elections simultaneously, I believe more now than before, on a national level, we're talking more about the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
We are excited about Ketanji Brown Jackson now as our new justice. The Supreme Court is back in session. They're going to be taking up voting rights. They're going to be taking up discrimination and LGBTQ rights.
Yeah. And affirmative action. Right.
But I almost feel like we've been saying democracy so much, and we don't always yell justice at the same time. And you cannot talk democracy without justice. But yet, the highest court we have on the land is one that we feel, some are saying, is struggling with the idea of justice.
Struggling is one way of putting it. I mean, some of them are just leaning. Yeah, some of them are outright just leaning the other way.
Yeah.
Because you have to ask yourself, in a 6-3 court, 6 conservative, why they are even taking certain cases. Like the Alabama case they're taking, which will determine gerrymandering. They can literally say you cannot consider race as you draw congressional lines, which just last weekend we were all down in Washington at the Congressional Black Caucus. They can cut those 58 members in half by just gerrymandering. So when we tell our people to vote, this is not just some civic duty. We are talking about we could literally lose a lot of what we've gained. The other thing that is so striking to me about the midterms is that the standards and the values seem to have gone. I mean, when you look at guys like Dr. Oz and
shocked.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Herschel Walker. Let me tell you something that
I was going to ask you about that.
I ran in 1992 for the U.S. Senate for the state of New York. First time a black ran for U.S. Senate in the state of New York. Probably the first time a black ran for statewide. And I did it to break that seal and not thinking I was going to win. The controversy they had in my race is that I believed a young lady and her mother and her lawyers, Tawana Brawley, and they say he shouldn't have believed her, it wasn't true. This man is not accused of believing anybody. He's accused of sticking a gun to his own wife's head, getting 4 kids born with 4 different women, not taking care of them, and paying for an abortion of what he did.
Right.
So imagine now the same right-wingers that condemn me for believing something will happen to somebody else are saying he should go to the U.S. Senate.
Right.
So where's the values now? Dr. Oz, where's the value? It's almost like when power doesn't matter, we'll say whatever we need. But when you elect a president that said, if I shot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue, they'd still vote for me, and he won.
Exactly.
Where are we now in American history?
I was reading the Washington Post, and there was a story about Republicans that are running for various offices and states. 299 of the 300 plus still believe, either are questioned or still don't believe the results of the 2020. We're about to head into another election And I've never seen this much conversation about a previous election. And many are admitting, well, even with the Herschel Walker case, I don't care what his moral value, moral standing is. We just need to win in the end.
And we need to win by taking the majority of the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives. And what blacks and browns need to understand, if they take 2 seats in the Senate, if they take 6 seats in the House, they will then, because a lot of us don't understand it, they will control what bills will go before the body.
That's it.
They will control the chairmanships of the committees, because all of that is decided by the Speaker in the House and by the Majority Leader in the Senate. So when they talk about we just want to take our seats, they're talking about we will decide everything. And so let's go back to what just this conversation we've had. They will decide the Supreme Court, and they will decide the legislation, and all left is the executive branch, which will have nothing. It'll be on lock.
It won't matter. It won't matter at that point. It's amazing the shift. You know, before when we were talking about ages ago elections, we just want you to vote. Just come out and vote. And we're seeing it goes down so much deeper than that, even down to the state electors. Right? So it's not just about whether you vote. It's now, is there going to be legislation where your state electors are able to decide whether your vote is actually going to count?
Yeah, and the state electors now become the new power that be. I mean, we're undermining everything that this country was built on. And then we come with feeble excuses. Black men in Georgia talking about, I ain't voting for a black woman because we got too many black women. I get people on my radio show calling in. Well, we got a black woman in the Supreme Court, black woman vice president, black women everywhere. What about black men? So you gonna vote for Brian Kemp, who's against everything we stood for, because you are too insecure because of black? Well, first of all, Stacy Abrams did not step up ahead of a black man. Nobody was running.
Nobody was running.
So it's not a black man, black woman thing. You should have ran somebody. Secondly, how many decades have we made black women sit in the back and support us? 1963 March on Washington.
Come on.
When I was only 9 years old, but we commemorated Martin III, and I've done the big marches commemorating it. A black woman wasn't even allowed to speak. And they stood and they pushed all of our leaders. So now, when I was 18 years old, Shirley Chisholm ran president. I was a youth director. I heard black elected officials, I was in a room with her as a teenager, say, we can't support no woman. Now women are there, woman vice president, all that. We're making up for how we joined white men in being misogynist.
Shirley Chisholm is one of my heroes. And I know you've written about her in the past, and first of all, you have sat under the leadership of so many amazing people. And I see that in talking to you. Like, I see the Chisholm, I see others that, the Adam Clayton Powell, that have helped to kind of start out with you and help you in your foundations. What do you think she would be saying if she was here today? What do you think Shirley Chisholm would be? I feel like she'd be like the real Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah, she would be beside herself, because in private, she was just as fiery as she was in public. She'd be really fired up.
Wow. I want to talk about your book. I just want to grab your book really quickly. Righteous Troublemakers, Untold Stories of the Social Justice Movement in America. Please tell me, just briefly, this Sharpton versus your first book that I know is right behind us, Isle of America. How have you transformed from that book to this book, which is an excellent read I want everybody to get?
The transformation was that there are people that made a significant contribution. Paulie Murray, a lawyer that wrote a lot of things that Thurgood Marshall used in the 54 Brown versus Board of Education decision. They would not give her limelight because she was a woman and gay. I write about her. I write about how Miss Claudette Colvin sat in the front of the bus before Rosa Parks. And they didn't want to use her as an example because she had a child and she was dark-skinned. So I wanted to say, while I have now been positioned to have a national a platform.
And have had one since you were young.
I want to use that light that I have to show the people that if it wasn't for these people, those of us out front wouldn't be out front. And that they should be given the credit because they stood and did it when they didn't even get a limelight, when they weren't going to be in the next day's paper. We need to know who they are, and we need to know what they did. So that's what I call righteous troublemakers and tell those stories.
Well, let me just say, Reverend Sharpton, first, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Because you're sharp. I mean, you sharp, okay? But I saw your team post on IG. They were saying happy birthday to you. And in front of it, I saw those 3 little pieces of bread. And I fell out laughing. I was like, this is hilarious. But then I had to go back and remember why you first started fasting.
I started
to protest the militarism in Puerto Rico.
Right. When I went to Puerto Rico, they were doing military exercises that was causing asthma for the kids in Puerto Rico. And a lot of the Puerto Rican leadership had gone to jail with me protesting police killing of a young man in New York, Amadou Diallo. So I said, well, I'm going to go to Puerto Rico and go to jail with them. I got 90 days. I just spent 3 months in jail. And I used it to fast. When I got out, I had lost a lot of weight. I started eating again. And then about a year later, I said, this is crazy. And I went on a total vegetarian diet. I only eat 1 raw salad a day. And there's eggs and cucumbers in it. And I don't eat anything else. And at night I eat some whole wheat toast, and that's it. So that's why they had the toast at my birthday party.
That thing made me crack up. But what was so funny was, or not even funny, on a deeper level, I remember having a teacher that told me, Ebony, I don't live to eat. I eat to live.
Yeah.
And I thought about that. She was like, you got to realize how gluttonous this country
is.
That's
right.
Like, think of it on a deeper level. And so she said, I have learned a discipline. And when I began to do that, it brought discipline throughout my whole life. This country was founded even off gluttony. I think about sugar and the transatlantic slave trade.
That's right.
And so while I was laughing at that,
and tobacco. That's right.
Because of the pleasures and the lusts that we have not created a discipline. And when I saw that, I was like, he has kept that discipline in his life, and I'm sure that it has manifested in so many areas of your life.
If you hit it right on the head. If you look at the fact that if you can discipline what you eat, if you can take control of your appetite, then you can do other things. Like right now, I run National Action Network, I run a TV show, I run a radio show, and I write books, and I'm a visiting professor at 2 colleges. But I can only do that regimen because I'm disciplined. And you can't be undisciplined with what you put in your body, and then think you're going to be disciplined in other things. And that's why I work out every morning. I watch that
your videos.
Regimen. Yeah, I want that regimen because it keeps me regimented and everything else. You must be in charge of yourself, and that starts with what you put in you.
You are the CEO of yourself. Rev, last question. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want it to be that in the first quarter to half of the 21st century, that I was one of the vanguard that brought a lot of what was done in the 20th century to try to preserve it and hold on to it and to build on top of that. We had great leaders in the 20th century, from Martin Luther King to Fannie Lou Hamer to Malcolm X. We're about to lose it all. And I want to make sure that we hold on to some of the people that I looked up to in the last century.
Wow, thank you so much, Rev. Righteous Troublemakers. This is an excellent, excellent read. But while you just pick up the rest, and let me just tell you, the legacy that you want to create is the legacy that you've already created. So I just want to thank you. That's my late birthday wish to you, to you is that God multiplies that.
And let me say this, because we do this together. Ebony's a righteous troublemaker.
Well, all right. I'll take that. Thank you for allowing us to do this in person. This has been great. And I can't wait to talk to you. I can't wait to talk to you again, Rev.
All right. And I'm glad to do this in person. We got to do this more often in person.
I'll bring a catering group in.
All right. Just bring my toast.
Okay, I'll bring your toast.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.